Hi guys, happy Friday. Bren here. I wanted to pop on here really quick because yesterday I asked a question and I wanted to know what the lowest point of your career was. Very philosophical. And the reason why I wanted to ask that, and thank you for all of those who commented or sent me a message, I truly appreciate you sharing your story. And the reason why I wanted to know is because I actually wanted to share one of my lower points with you. And the reason why I wanted to share it is because it's a situation I've learned a lot about. And it's one of those things that I wish someone had told me when I was living through it. So going back in time to when I had my first job right out of college, it was a marketing job. It was a really big company, really good company. A lot of successful people. I know a lot of successful people who have worked there. And I was actually fired from that job. My first yearly review was that I was going to be terminated. And the reason I hadn't done anything like super, super bad or like terrible. It was just that I was not a good fit for the company. They called it literally a company mismatch. And the reason why they said this is because they felt that I operated really well and really outstanding at this one thing, but these other things that I was supposed to do, I wasn't doing well. And the thing I did well was strategic thinking, which I agree with. I feel that I'm very good at strategic thinking. But they thought that I wasn't good at doing stuff. And those of you who have worked with me, especially in the US, will laugh. Get a kick out of this. They said that I was really bad at managing projects. I was really bad at following timelines. I was really bad at pushing things through a system or figuring out a process or creating one if there wasn't one in place. And it's really funny because I've actually had a lot of success in my career after that experience in those exact things. And you could say, well, you moved to the US and it's a different country and maybe you're doing better there because there's more structure. No, I've worked at companies that had no processes and that, kind of had to figure it out, and I did. And it's not because I'm fantastic or special or anointed or any of those things that you might think. It's because I took that experience and those feelings of despair, of anger, because I was really angry. I was really frustrated because I had put so many hours of my life into that company. And to be just fired like that, it felt unfair. And I was honestly in that mindset of, why me? Like, why did this have to happen to me after all the effort and work that I've put into it? And honestly, it's because, girl, you had to grow, you had to learn. And had I not had that experience, I feel like I would not have become the hard worker and the dedicated person towards my work that I later became. So one thing that I should say is that, as I said, I know a lot of very successful and very admirable people who maybe still work at this company. But it just wasn't a good fit for me. I was never happy, and I knew it from day one. I knew that there was something that wasn't right, but I was too afraid to make a decision because I was worried about money. I was worried about what was going to happen. What were people going to think of me? And all of these different things that don't matter now that I think back. And going back to this experience of you're fired. And in that moment, you're like, what am I going to do with my life? I took all of the feedback that I was given that day to heart. And for a long time, I let that be the story that I told myself. I told myself that I was terrible and I demanded so much of me. And I literally was my worst enemy because I made myself work so much harder than I really needed to. And I gave myself an impossible standard of perfection because I had done so poorly. So I cannot do that again. I cannot go back to that place. And if I'm honest with myself, if I'm honest with you guys, receiving that feedback was actually one of the best things that could have happened to me. While at that point in time did not feel like it at all. But it was good because it made me realize something that I had seen in other areas of my life, but I hadn't quite believed. If you're ever given a label that doesn't feel right, even if in that situation, it does make sense. They are right. They have all the proof to back up the facts that they're telling you that you are terrible at this or you're that or whatever that label may be. They can be wrong. They can abso-freaking-lutely be wrong. And it's impossible. In that moment, it feels impossible. And maybe you're that brave person who says, I'm going to prove them wrong and they're going to see. And I wasn't that person. I was not that person. I was the shy introvert who said okay, you're right. I sucked. Yeah, you're right. And I never took the feedback and said, I'm going to prove them wrong. I took that feedback and said, what can I do to grow and never be back in this situation again? So what I wanted to invite you to think about, and the reason why I wanted to share this, is if you are ever, or if you have ever been in a situation where someone's given you a label, or when someone's named you or called you something that does not feel right, even if in the situation or in that moment it feels like they are right, your gut knows better, your instincts know better. And if you feel that it isn't right, if you feel that the label doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. And it's okay to prove to yourself that that's the case. It's not about them. It's not about what they're saying. It's not about this like fixing what they think of you. That doesn't matter. What matters is what you take home with you and what you say to yourself when no one else is watching, because that's what's going to define who you're going to become. I personally believe that you don't become successful by listening to what others say of you. You become successful by looking at that internal dialogue and fixing the things that are no longer serving you. So if there is something that is no longer serving you and you want to get rid of it so bad, but you're afraid because you've been told that this is the case and this is the truth, I am giving you permission to chuck that away and say, that's not it. That's not me. No, I'm not living that anymore. Drawing a line in the sand. And from this point forward, it's what I say. And that's okay. And it's the most empowering thing that you can do and the biggest favor that you're ever going to do to yourself. So if there's anyone out there who you feel is going through a difficult situation or living a reality that doesn't feel theirs, or even if it's you, please share this video with them. Please, I want them to know that it's okay. I want you to know that it's okay and that it's going to get better. And if you have any questions or any comments, I'm an open book. I would love to hear. Please share your feedback. Please drop some comments, and I will see you all very, very soon. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. Bye.